My Hero Academia is finally good again. If you've watched my previous reviews, then you know that I had a lot to criticize about this show, especially in seasons 4 and 5. Those seasons took a major diversion from the main plot, which made the story feel extremely slow and dragged out. The worst offender had to have been the joint training arc, as that one felt like the slowest of them all. But let's move all of that to the side because we aren't here to talk about how terrible those arcs were. We're here to talk about how amazing this season was, because from the reactions I saw online, it seemed like people were actually excited to be watching My Hero Academia again. Before we dive into this, I just have to mention that I am so grateful we didn't get any filler episodes this season. I for sure thought that we were going to be getting one to start the season off and that we would be getting another one in the middle of the season in order to promote a new My Hero Academia movie, but fortunately we didn't get any of that. I've said this before, but starting a season with a filler episode just kills all the hype for the series, because you're waiting for the next season to come out in order to continue the story, only to find out that you have to wait another week in order for the anime to really start. Not having any filler at the beginning or at any part of the season allow for the story to flow way better and for it to be at a way faster pace. One thing I mentioned in my first thoughts on the series is that we got a lot of focus on characters outside of our main cast. This tends to be the benefit of war arcs, since there is so much going on that you can't expect the main character to be the one who solves every little issue. Characters like Denki, Mirko, Momo, Fumikage, and Hawks all had varying amounts of time where they were pivotal to the plot progression. And there were definitely more characters who played pivotal roles, but there were too many to name. The Hawks vs Twice fight really caught my eye because Hawks had very villainous vibes. I'm not saying that he's a villain nor that he did the wrong thing, but the lighting, shadows, betrayal, and overall ominous tone portrayed Hawks as a villain. I'm actually going to make a video about this, going further in depth about the Hawks Twice interaction, as I've noticed a lot of people give me a bunch of differing opinions on the topic, and I want to cover it in as much depth as I possibly can. But a quick summary of my opinion is I believe Hawks absolutely did the right thing. This arc revealed Tomura Shigaraki was given the all-for-one quirk, which is a twist I honestly didn't see coming. It's so obvious now though, because all for one, the person was talking to All Might about how his successor, Shigaraki, was superior to All Might's successor, Deku. There were other little hints as well, like the movie My Hero Academia Heroes Rising. In that movie, the main villain was 9, a person who was given a copy of the all-for-one quirk by none other than Kudai Garaki. At the end of that movie, Tomura Shigaraki happens to walk upon 9, who is exhausted and beaten from battling Deku and Bakugo's twin one-for-alls. I don't remember the exact words, but Shigaraki said something like, "There can only be one," and then kills him in cold blood. There's just been so much foreshadowing that it made so much sense despite being so surprising. One of the things I actually didn't like about this arc was the Bakugo sacrifice, because Horikoshi tried to make it seem as if he was in real danger of dying. Fake out deaths are a trope that appear a lot in media, and I am extremely tired of it at this point. There are times where this trope is done well, but this is definitely not one of those times. Fake out deaths are used to play with the audience's emotions while not having any actual impact on the major characters. It's emotionally exhausting to care about these characters only to just have them end up being perfectly fine. So I start emotionally detaching, which makes it more difficult for me to care about these characters' struggles. My Hero Academia is far from the worst offender of this trope. One Piece and Fairy Tail have definitely abused this way harder, but it's something I still needed to be pointed out because it just rubbed me the wrong way. Another major event that happened in this arc was Dabi being revealed as Toya, Endeavor's dead child. Now, I personally don't believe that this was always the plan for this character, as we probably would have gotten more clues foreshadowing this development prior to the Endeavor agency arc. Despite that, I love this reveal because I've always secretly compared Endeavor and Dabi in my mind because they both use a fire quirk. I noticed that since Dabi's flames were blue, his must be hotter than Endeavor's flames. And I also noticed that Endeavor is able to make his flames blue when he cranks up the heat. So even though there wasn't a lot of foreshadowing, it's super cool because of the quirk similarity alone. The way he revealed this was fantastic, and it sent chills down my spine. I never thought the Endeavor family drama would play such an important role in this story, but I am glad that it is because there are still a lot of unresolved feelings. Lemillion came back, and I honestly wonder why why this choice was made. Don't get me wrong, I love Mirio, but I just don't see him playing a significant role in the story nor doing something that only he can do. He wasn't brought back for no reason, and I assume he'll do something amazing in the future, but he really didn't do much in this arc other than support the other heroes. The reason why I need him to do something major is because by bringing back his quirk, his decision to permanently rid himself of his quirk in his hero career to save Eri got its value reduced as it didn't have a lifelong sacrifice. The hope is that diminishing the value of his sacrifice will be traded with him becoming a super integral part of the story. It didn't happen in this arc, so I guess we'll have to wait and see what will happen in future arcs. This arc ended with Shigaraki and a few key members of the Paranormal Liberation Front escaping and breaking All For One out of prison. I knew that he would break out at some point, as typically in superhero stories, when a villain is imprisoned instead of killed, they will somehow break out of prison and cause havoc once again. Midoriya was able to have a deeper connection with the previous All For One users, which meant that he was going to gain access to a variety of different quirks. Not only that, but it seems as if he can access their consciousness at any time, which seems like it could be annoying, but it could also be kinda cool. Heroes start quitting being heroes, which is crazy because this is actually something that Sting was warning people about. If heroes are only saving people for money and fame, then once those things stop being associated with hero work, those heroes will abandon you. But there were a few heroes who stuck through the bad publicity and decided to do their best in order to hopefully return Hero Society back to the way it was originally before. Deku was one of those heroes, as he decided to leave the safety of UA in order to clean up the city and save as many people as possible by taking the burden all on himself. The Dark Hero arc definitely outshone the Paranormal Liberation War arc because it had so much focus on Deku's character development while also providing setup for massive future events that will have a significant impact on the story. Deku leaving UA wasn't really surprising to me in this context because Shigaraki can find him wherever he is due to the search quirk. It made sense that he didn't want to put the lives of his friends in danger, so the only option he had was to leave. What did surprise me was the decision to reveal the secret of All For One to his classmates, because for the entire series it had been treated as the most important secret. This demonstrated that Deku determined his friends deserved to know the truth about what had really been going on. I'm guessing he thought the rest of the world couldn't handle the full truth yet, which is why the secret was still kept from them, even though they definitely deserved to know what was going on. Deku leaving the school and telling his classmates to keep his secret fundamentally changed the course of the series forever, which is a good thing. One of my major criticisms of My Hero Academia in the past was that the story felt like it was stagnating and the plot wasn't progressing. But with everything being drastically different, it's impossible for me to make the same criticism now. I love seeing how Deku's quirk developed so much from the war arc. He has access to Smokescreen and Fa-Jin, not to mention he's been using Danger Sense and Float more regularly as well. He has a variety of different quirks now. This is the first time I've actually looked at Deku and thought that he doesn't really look like an All Might clone. He has a variety of his own attacks that aren't based on All Might because he can do things that All Might couldn't do in his prime. I love the muscular rematch because it demonstrated his increased skills, and I also really enjoyed the Lady Nagant battle as well. She had a really interesting quirk, and in a way I felt a bit sorry for her watching her backstory. She couldn't accept the corruption and the two-facedness of current hero society, so she became a villain with the hopes of tearing it all to the ground. Deku was somewhat able to restore her faith in a world where heroes weren't so corrupt because he was as genuine as they come, but she blew up before she really had a chance to help them out. It was very frightening to watch, as it made me as a viewer scared of All For One's influence. One thing I definitely didn't see coming was Deku abandoning his allies, including All Might, in order to take the burden of saving the world by himself. After the Lady Nagant incident, he was traumatized by All For One as he feared that none of his allies would be safe around him, especially if they couldn't keep up with him. He saw himself as a pillar to support the weight of the entire world, just like All Might saw himself when he was younger. I've always thought this view was a bit flawed, because once that pillar gives out or breaks, which is inevitable, then the rest of the society is screwed over as well. I believe I mentioned this before in a previous review, but I believe it's okay to have one main pillar everyone leans on, as long as there are also some support pillars so the main pillar can take a break and get some maintenance without dooming the rest of society. To me, Class 1A were those support pillars in this arc. Individually, they can't do much on their own. That much was obvious, since they had a very difficult time keeping Deku, the main pillar, down for a long enough time to drag him back to UA. Deku was in a weakened state at this time as well, where he needed to use Black Whip as crutches as he was barely able to stand. However, together they proved that they were able to keep up with him him, which demonstrates to Deku that they can actually be his support pillars. Together, their combined power was able to make them move even faster than Deku's Fox 100%, which made him as fast as All Might in his prime. When Deku returned to UA, there was a specific quote that really stood out to me.
これは僕が最高のヒーローになるまでの物語。そして、みんなが最高のヒーローになるまでの物語だ。
Right here, he's saying that he was only able to become the greatest hero because everyone around him, his support pillars, are also the greatest heroes. He couldn't have made it this far without them, and he is finally able to acknowledge that he physically can't do everything on his own. It also reinforced the concept and theme of one for all, with everyone being treated as equals and sharing one power or position, the position in this case being the greatest hero. The whole return to UA scene was very heartbreaking, and it actually made me tear up, which is a wild thing for this show to do. My Hero Academia had its fair share of emotional moments, but none of them hit me like this one. I actually read the manga for this arc way before the anime adapted it, and it definitely did not make me this emotional. It's probably the phenomenal voice acting by Uraraka's actress and the amazing score that really cut deep into my emotions. This moment will forever define this arc for me, and it's one of the reasons why it's definitely one of my favorite arcs thus far. This arc ended with a brief teaser of Star and Stripe, the #1 US hero. I am incredibly excited to see what she will do. Like I said, I've read the manga and I already know what will happen, but the anime has been full of surprises recently. Despite some minor mistakes, I believe Studio Bones will definitely do a great job at adapting the rest of this story, so there is a lot I have to look forward to. I truly believe this anime adaptation has the potential to surpass the manga in terms of quality, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see.